Nick Kidwai, resident in Valley Park, Director Concerned Citizen Thousand Oaks since '93. Hello, friends. This is an urgent appeal and message at the 11th hour. It's about 12:30 on Friday, and 5 o'clock is the deadline for anybody that wants to withdraw from any of the races, especially the Thousand Oaks City Council race. This race is important. One of the key races in the Kanea Valley, right after the Julia versus Strickland campaign. I am kind of disappointed, and it's done on purpose, that there's no filing fee. The filing fee is actually $1,000 for the statement, but you don't have to sign up for that. So all that is required is 20 signatures, which just about anybody can get. And it's very disturbing that just like 2 years ago, we seem to have a plethora of people wanting to run. Don't get me wrong, I'm not against democracy. In fact, I wish more people would participate. But if you apply for a job, you have to have, especially today, direct experience, a lot of experience, educational background, references, and you are weighed against other people who are applying on the same basis. And if you, like right now, even if you have experience in it, but if it was 3 or 4 years ago, and there are 3 or 4 people that were in the same industry or in the last 6 months or 6 years, you will not be called because your experience is not relevant. But for city council, just since all that is required is to be a registered voter, we have people coming out. And again, I want to let you know that this is a non-partisan, so there's no like Julia and Strickland, Republicans versus Democrats and party-based. But there are 2 parties here, and they've been around for about 25-30 years now. One is Fox Clan, Andy Fox and Jackie Irvin and people in the background, Shiloh, etc. And the other is Linda Parks, Claudia. And so we already have 2 candidates from each side, Al Adam and Mick Ferris for the Claudia side, and we have Jackie, of course, running re-election, and we have Jim Bruno, who bowed out, but I believe he was coaxed by the special interests to run, plus some of his own friends. I will lay my cards out on the table, knowing most of these people on personally, and not being a member or supporting either one of these 2 clans. I, at this point, am supporting Mick Ferris, or going to vote for Mick Ferris and Jim Bruno. And I think Mick Ferris, I've known him for a long time. He's run many times. I did not support him in the past, and he's too much anti-business for my liking. But I hope that he's been in business and done well. He's a scientist, and that hopefully he will not do the bidding of Claudia, and I think he has grown on the job, and it's glad that he has not taken the marbles and run away like, say, Laura Lee Custodio, and come back after a hiatus. And I'm hoping, I'm an eternal optimist that among the people that are running, that he would be good. Al Adams, I have doubts about him because he does not seem to be a people person, and that's one of the basic criteria to serve on these local offices, to be a people person, be outgoing and willing to help people. He's also done a blunder, in my opinion, in that he's running a commercial for Strickland. So he's going to alienate a lot of the Democrats in this nonpartisan office, and especially with the horrible campaign that was run with Linda Parks for Congress. I don't know why he did that, but I haven't seen the ads, but it's a done deal. I also know Jim Bruno for a long time. He's a Christian, and I told that to a right-wing conservative GOP guy. He said, "I don't look at that, even though he's a Christian also." But I look at Christian in the sense that uh, he will bring good ethical values, and he will not do some of the things that Andy Fox and company have done, which are a little bit shady. And uh, I think he has a moral turpitude, and at the age that he is right now, I don't know if he wants to go for higher office, but I think he will vote for the community a lot, even though he's pro-business, which I am. But he will not give special favors to other people like these people have done. The biggest disappointment, of course, is Jackie Irwin, who I have supported in the past, and she just seems to be a very weak person. I've met her many times and talked to her, and she has talked about some of my concerns to the city manager and other colleagues, and has promised that the changes would be done, but nothing has happened, absolutely nothing. And she seems to have been hypnotized by the city manager, and she just, over the years, has just become a total mouthpiece for the administration, not realizing, and I hope Jim Bruno would not fall lock and step, that there is an adversarial relationship with the staff, and uh, whereas the staff occasionally or many times will act in the best interest of the citizens, but there are many times, especially in their pocketbook, which is a big issue, the pensions that are growing in the city, and the high salaries that these people are getting, causing us to have a very high break-even point for the city, causing them to increase fees and franchise fees and fees for different applications sky high, so that they can pay these, because uh, uh, they are always coming forward and they've already done cutting back on library services or street cleaning, but the people whose salaries, right now there are over a dozen people that are making over 150,000, and I think 7 or 8 who are making $200,000, plus all the perks that are really not available in the private sector. My main reason for talking to you today, I tried to do it 2 days ago, and I lost the time, because when you do this live, if there's an error, you lose. It doesn't save to a hard drive, and so I'm hoping that I will not lose it today. 5 o'clock is the deadline for people to withdraw if they want to, and I strongly implore the other candidates to, especially if they care about the city, and if they realize the difference and care about either side passionately, whether it's the Claudia side or Andy Fox side, that they are just going to dilute the vote, and that's what happened in the last election. And I'm not completely thrilled about Ed Jones dropping out, because with my investigation, it seems like he supports the administration, supports the redevelopment. He was involved in it originally, and a lot of the and has not liked Zena or Linda Parks in the past. So even though he came out for having an election rather than nomination, but I think it will come out in the debates that he's on the other side, so he might dilute the Jackie and Jim Bruno vote, but the other people will all take away from Mick Ferris and Al Adam. I hope the candidates will watch this. I'm going to send this to, I have the email, is that, I talked to Sobrino, and he talked about a miracle. And miracles, if you're a Christian, Christians believe in miracles, but Jesus never promised miracles in politics. And in a way, money buys votes, unless you are a complete moron, unless you are a complete moron. I don't know if this keeps recording when I'm on the other screen. In the last election, there were 8 or 9 people who ran, and most of them did not even spend money on the candidate statement. I'll give you an example. Michael Wurzel spent $1,170. Debbie Berenbaum, who did fairly well for her money, spent $1,835. Todd Press, who was a Christian, spent $1,135. Brandon Milan, a Democrat, spent $18,000, but he blew about $12,000 on a consultant. I guess he thought there would be more money coming in, and so he really didn't spend money on flyers or the nitty-gritty. And Billy Martin spent $2,200. Frank Akery, who thought son of the soil, he has a lot of name recognition, didn't need to spend a lot of money, so he spent $2,800, and so he didn't do well. Scott Adams spent $1,950. Al Adam, who almost won, spent $37,000, and right now he spent about $25,000 on his initiative. And believe it or not, I mean, and Mick Ferris has spent about $25,000 also on his initiative that has become law, and got 10,000 votes. So basically, these people who sign these petitions, they look up on the person that did the initiative, and so that gets them thousands of votes. And that was kind of a sneaky thing that Mick did, which I don't like, even though I'm voting for him, is that they had a feeling that the council would not allow an election. So 2 days, Thursday morning, the vote was taken late Tuesday. Thursday morning, he already had the language written and was in front of the city clerk with his petition. So they planned it, and then the council people have the prerogative, which they are not really using, to put 2 items on the agenda at every meeting. And I asked Claudia several times, and even Jackie, all of them by email, to put this item on the agenda, whether there should be an election or it should be appointed, and if election, what the ordinance should be. And they never did it, so that they would have a chance to have Mick look good. And so Dennis Gillette won by about 150 votes out of a total of 67,000 votes that were cast, and the challengers received 34,000 votes, but it was split among 8 people, and I'm excluding Al from this because he basically was part of the Claudia team. And so if even 1 or 2 of these challengers had dropped out, Dennis Gillette would not have won the election. So one of the problems that we have is that you cannot remove your name after 5 p.m. today. So I think just about everybody who's running is a wonderful person. I would consider them, maybe vote for them. But if you want to build credibility, why don't you set aside this time, maybe support a candidate. You'll kind of become a hero. Write a letter that you're withdrawing in support of Mick Ferris or Jim Bruno, if you feel that way, or that you wanted to make it a clean fighting field, and especially if you have not paid the $1,000 for the candidate fee, that just puts you out of the league. Even though right now they are not going to put that on the internet, they are going to put it on tonight for I think a week or something like that, because people can challenge it, but then they are going to take it off. And this again why I don't like the incumbents. I've asked them to be like my city of Fullerton, where they have the candidate statements on page 1 of their website, so everybody can go to the statement at any time, and it gets kind of a nutshell of what the people's position are. I talked to Mr. Sabrino yesterday. He had applied along with me in that fake application process that they had, where Joel was selected, where the odds of 3 council members choosing 3 applicants out of 17 was 3,360. I mean, those, you don't even go to Vegas with those odds. So it's he spoke in that meeting, and he would make a good candidate. He's Hispanic. We need Hispanic representation, even though we have Claudia, but she doesn't really care much for the downtrodden. She's more of a Westlake yuppie, and so I think this gentleman is a small businessman. We need a small business voice, and Vern Williams, who's worked for Amgen, has Amgen following. His wife still is there. Baxter is the other big employer here. He's working for UCLA in science, so he has a good job, and he has worked for the Navy, so a lot of veterans would support him. But he has no background at all. He has not been on any committee. He has not worked on a board of directors for United Way or Boy Scouts or MANA. These are the kind of things that you need to do to show that you care. If you have a homeowners association, to be on that, and then don't come to every meeting like I do, because that some people don't like that, but come every 2 months, especially on important issues, and speaks and write a letter to the editor, etc., so that you have some name ID and recognition, and people realize that you are a person that cares about the issues that are important for them. Debbie Berenbaum is a fellow Democrat and very sensitive. She does not understand why I or other people don't support her, but like I said last time, she only spent $1,800. I think she had a candidate statement, and she did not even have a flyer printed up, and unfortunately, and she's a former president of the Democratic Club, is that you have to play the game as it is played. If the players send one flyer out, you have to send another one. If they are on cable TV, you have to be on cable TV, or if you're not on cable TV, be on the internet with advertising, and these things work. And I guess she can coattail on Julia Brownlee and get some votes, but then again, these will be good people, and in the process again we will get Jackie re-elected. I mean, for the record, there have been many fatalities in the city council race, and I will start with my first mayor, Bob Lewis, who's an attorney, a very nice man, but he could not get re-elected. Michael Malarkey from Newbury Park was kicked out. Dan Del Campo, who was a Benedict Arnold, could not win re-election. Another Benedict was Bob Wilson of the restaurant Cisco's. He failed. Some people, Judy Lazar was a very famous one. People did not care for the fighting, and Eloise Zena left town before she was going to lose in the election, as have some other people. So if the vote comes, people get to know the votes of and thinking of Jackie, it's completely against the will of most of the residents. Auto mall sign, she bragged and made the motion to approve it. Also, what's his name? In the Los Robles Hospital, which was a clear example of whether you are for the residents or for a greedy corporation, she actually chastised the residents for not being far-sighted enough to realize that hospital needs to get bigger. And when they bought their house 30 years ago or 20 years ago, they should have realized that, especially when this corporation had bought Westlake Hospital and closed it, and when the hearings were held, the hospital was laying dormant, and from the patient and city point of view, having two hospitals in one in the Westlake portion would have been so great for emergency care and other kind of care, and she voted on the other side. She also played the nanny role of protecting us, like Andy Fox has said regarding the appointment process, that there would she knew that Dr. Glancy had cancer, so they might have had a 3-member council, which is legal and would have been fine, and didn't want to take 2 months to have an election, and appointed Joel, which was a completely rigged appointment, and she also has never questioned, in fact always has accolades for giving these people, like they just appointed the city attorney, and they put the consent calendar, the contract, I think, on the consent calendar, and did not even have a hearing. She, along with Andy Fox, have reduced the time that citizens can speak on goal setting or study sessions from 3 minutes to 2 minutes, when it should be done the other way around. Most people don't really care or don't even go because there's nothing on the agenda, especially now with the city at build out. But when, like for the auto mall sign, when 100 people come up, it's because they care and they're concerned and they should be heard. And in fact, that was part of the turning point. We didn't get the vote, but there was a meeting at the golf course which Susan Murata was trying to manage, and they were going to keep people limited in the time, and that people started shouting, etc., and they had to open it up, and there was no time limit, and we actually had a good meeting, even though, believe it or not, despite approving a digital sign, staff never produced a video to show what it really looks like and the effects of it. And I, for one, had done that in the city of Duarte, which has filed a bankruptcy right now, despite the auto dealers that they have, to see how ugly it becomes, and that one sign leads to another, and it doesn't really bring any additional business. And I presented that video to the staff, and they played politics and said they could not open it. And Jackie never asked the staff or asked me to, or even Claudia, to see if I could work it and show it. I mean, it was 5 minutes or something like that. I have it here, I believe, on YouTube, or I have it on Facebook also, for anyone who's interested. This thing is going too long, so I don't know who would be the gluttons for punishment to listen to this, but I am going to call the other candidates and see if anybody will withdraw today or even think about it over the weekend, and even though their name might be on it, maybe they can still run, but run as supporting some of the other candidates, so that we don't get the dilution of the vote. I'm also going to ask some of my friends and caring people in Thousand Oaks to try to make the phone calls. It's about 1 o'clock, and we have another 4 hours, so I'm going to lose some money and not be able to work. Maybe if I don't reach people, it won't take that long. So thank you for listening. Have a great day.